Atlas Air Oral Question Study Guide, Boeing 767, Air Systems, and Pneumatics. Question 1. When using ground pneumatic air for start, where does the air cart connect to the aircraft air system? The ground pneumatic source connects to the aircraft through the left vent. Question 2. With the pack control selector in standby N, the pack produces a constant moderate temperature, 75 degrees Fahrenheit, 24 degrees Celsius. Question 3. With the pack control selector in standby C, the pack produces a full cold temperature, 65 degrees Fahrenheit, 18 degrees Celsius. Question 4. With the pack controller in standby W, the pack produces a warm temperature, 85 degrees Fahrenheit, 29 degrees Celsius. Question 5. How are the ram air doors and the exhaust doors affected with the pack control selector in any standby mode? They are fixed in the full open position. Question 6. If a pack overheat condition is detected, what does the pack controller automatically do? It commands the respective pack to its coolest temperature. Question 7. What occurs if a pack fault condition is detected with the automatic pack controller system? The pack valve will freeze in the last controlled position. Question number 8. What does a pack off light indicate? The pack off light indicates the respective pack is off and the pack valve is closed. Question 9. What does the pack in-op light indicate? The in-op light indicates a controller fault or the pack output temperature overheat. Question 10. What does having both an in-op light and a pack off light simultaneously indicate? The in-op light and the pack off light simultaneously indicate an internal pack overheat. The pack automatically shuts off for cooling and one reset may be performed. Question 11. Where is the overheat reset switch for a pack located? In the in-op/pack off light switch. Question 12. How many pressurization controllers are there and how are they operated? There are 3 pressure controllers. 2 are automatic and utilize AC power. Third is manual, utilizing DC power. Question 13. If the selected automatic pressurization controller fails, what happens? The pressurization control is automatically switched to the opposite controller. Question 14. If automatic pressurization switching occurs during a controller failure, how is this displayed to the flight crew? Via ICAS status message. Question number 15. What does auto in-op on the cabin altitude control panel mean? Both autocontrollers have failed or the manual mode has been selected. Question number 16. What will the index mark on the cabin altitude auto rate control establish? A climb of 500 feet per minute or a descent of 300 feet per minute cabin pressure altitude. Question 17. What are the positive pressure relief valves? Where are the positive pressure relief valves located on a passenger aircraft? The positive pressure relief valves are located on the left fuselage forward of the wing. Question 18. When does the cabin altitude warning light illuminate? 10,000 feet cabin altitude. Question number 19. When does the cabin altitude warning light extinguish? When cabin altitude descends below 8,500 feet. Question 20. The cargo area is divided into how many compartments? 3. Question 21. Which cargo compartment or compartments utilize the bleed air system for supply of warm air? The forward and aft cargo compartments receive warm air from the bleed air system. Question 22. Where is the bulk cargo heat selector located? On the accessory panel. Question 23. What happens when the bulk cargo heat selector is placed in the vent position? Placing the bulk cargo heat selector to vent turns on a fan to improve air circulation, draws cabin air into the bulk cargo compartment, and allows a higher temperature, 65 degrees Fahrenheit, to be achieved in the compartment. Question 24. When the aircraft is on the ground, how does the equipment cooling system configure its fans for cooling? The equipment cooling system has two fans, a supply and an exhaust fan. On the ground, these fans are both configured to on. Question 25. When the aircraft has both engines started, the equipment cooling automatically reconfigures for flight. What is the normal configuration of the system for flight? The system closes the overboard exhaust valve to make a closed-loop system through the skin heat exchanger and commands the supply fan off. Question 26. When does the valve light for the equipment cooling system illuminate while the aircraft is on the ground? When one or more of the equipment cooling valves are not in the commanded position for flight. Question 27. What does an equipment cooling overheat light in flight indicate? An overheat light in flight indicates that the system is too hot. The assumption is that both fans in the system are off. Question 28. What would moving the equipment cooling selector to standby do in the case presented in the previous question? Moving the selector to standby would send a signal to activate the supply fan to on. The overheat light would then be inhibited for 5 minutes to allow the system to cool. Question 29. What does an equipment cooling smoke light indicate? This indicates the presence of smoke within the equipment cooling system. Question 30. When the equipment cooling smoke light is indicated, the crew will be directed to move the selector to the override position. What happens when this selector is placed in override? Both the supply and exhaust fans will be deactivated, the smoke override valve will be open, and the system will use differential pressure to exhaust the air overboard. Question 31. After 1 minute in the override selection, what can the crew expect to see eventually on the equipment cooling panel? After 1 minute in the override position, the no cooling light is uninhibited and will eventually come on. Question 32. What is the purpose of the trim air system on the Boeing 767? The aircraft pack controllers regulate the pack output air temperature to the compartment requesting the coolest air. Hot trim air from the bleeds is then added through trim air valves to control the temperature in the other compartments. Question 33. If the trim air switch is selected off, what indications will the crew see? With the trim air selected off, the compartment in-op lights will illuminate, and associated compartment temperature advisory ICAS messages will be present. Question 34. When operating with the trim air selected off, what cabin temperature did the packs attempt to maintain? An average temperature of 75 degrees Fahrenheit, 24 degrees Celsius. Question 35. What occurs after a cabin zone temperature is turned off? Zone trim air is lost and the in-op light stays on. Question 36. What is the maximum normal operating differential pressure? 8.6 psi. Question 37. Which isolation valve must be open to allow the flow of APU bleed air into the manifold? The center isolation valve. Question 38. When are the left and right isolation valves normally closed? After engine start. Question 39. What does it mean when the isolation valve light comes on? The valve and switch position are not in agreement. Question 40. What is indicated if a left or right duct leak light is on? A pneumatic duct leak is detected in the associated duct. Question 41. If the duct leak light is on, when will it go out? When the temperature along the pneumatic duct cools. Which system becomes inoperative when bleed air is prevented from entering the center pneumatic duct? The ADP and the aft/bulk cargo heat. Question 43. Which valve must be open to start the left engine using the ground air cart? Starter only. Question 44. What does the bleed light indicate on Pratt & Whitney engines? Engine high pressure valve is open when it should be closed. Question 45. What does the bleed light indicate on a GE engine? The high pressure shutoff valve and/or pressure regulating valves are open when they should be closed. Question 46. With the APU operating and both isolation valves open, which air conditioning pack can be supplied? Both the left pack and the right pack. Question 47. With the APU operating, what is the position of the APU bleed air valve? Open. Question 48. What must be done if the temperature below 45 degrees is desired when the forward cargo air conditioning system is installed on the 767 freighters? The forward cargo heat must be selected off. That completes air system, pneumatic system.